Remember, Australia is just 1.3% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Punishing our nation will make no difference to the temperature of the planet. But Net Zero Australia is caught up in its grandiose vision, which says in its submission, in its report, that its mission is comparable to the Marshall Plan, which rebuilt Europe after the destruction of the Second World War. Here's what Robin Batterham, Emeritus Professor of Engineering at the University of Melbourne and Australia's former Chief Scientist, this is the man who chaired the Net Zero Australia Steering Committee, this is what he said, and I quote, "It would seem that if you just leave it to little initiatives here and there, they might get there," this is to net zero, "and they might not. It's one thing to wave our arms and say, we need a moonshot, we need a Marshall Plan, or what have you. I don't resile from that." Now, the case has not been made to the average Australian living in the suburbs that the nation faces a crisis anywhere near warranting such a moonshot or Marshall Plan effort to fix it. People just want affordable and reliable power. They want their cost of living to come down, not go up. Yet elite news outlets like The Guardian Australia didn't even report on the cost that was revealed in Net Zero Australia's report. The Guardian led with assertions that nuclear power is too expensive. Now, it would have been interesting to see The Guardian do a cost comparison, something perhaps too difficult for its reporters to research, or perhaps they're just not curious. But they seemed intent on demonising nuclear as a viable option to the windmills and solar panels. Certainly, nuclear plants wouldn't need the new poles and wires strewn across the countryside because they could be located in proximity to existing infrastructure. But as Nick Cater unearthed in the Australian newspaper, Net Zero Australia concedes in the fine print that the costs it released last week are only based on modelling. This is what they said in the fine print. "The inherent and significant uncertainty in key modelling inputs means there is also significant uncertainty in associated assumptions and modelling results," end quote. That means that even Net Zero Australia seems to know how unreliable modelling is. $1.5 trillion by 2030 is likely to be on the low side. The science, engineering and economics behind the net zero dream are dodgy. Until this is sorted, we should stop this folly before we all go broke. Well, this week, the Yes and the No campaigns for the Indigenous Voice to Parliament referendum campaign filed their official 2,000-word statements with the Australian Electoral Commission. The AEC has posted each statement on its website, and pamphlets of each will be mailed to every Australian household at a cost of $10 million. A date for the referendum is likely to be announced by the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, sometime in September for an October referendum. October 14 is the date widely tipped after the footy finals are out of the way. Perhaps too after some blatant promotion of the Yes case at the footy finals, as we saw with the same-sex marriage campaign back in 2017. Who can forget the Yes vote being shamelessly promoted during the NRL final with US rapper Macklemore performing Same Love as part of the pre-game entertainment. What's the bet? The welcome to countries at the AFL and the NRL grand finals won't include some sort of message about voting yes just weeks and days out from the actual referendum day.